ToddYoungONLINE presents Young Tales. Tales for the young and the young at heart. Today's story, Bulfinch's Mythology, the Mabinogion, Taliesin, the Radiant Brow. Now long ago, when the sea sang against the walls of Window Waharan, Lord of Waelod, there was a fishing weir upon the strand of Diffie and Aberstrength. Each May Eve it yielded 100 pounds in silver from the sea's bounty. But that year fortune turned, and with it the fate of Wales. Gwynedd had an only son, Elphin, the most luckless youth in all the land. Hoping at last to bring him good fortune, his father granted him the year's catch from the weir. "Let him draw it," said Gwynedd, "and see if the sea will favor him at last." So, at dawn on the 1st of May, Elphin came to his weir and found no fish, no treasure, only a leathern bag tangled upon the bowl. "Now, all thy ill luck is complete, Elphin," said Weirward, mocking. "Thou hast ruined the weir itself." "There may be more in this bag than fish or silver," said Elphin quiet. They opened it, and within lay a child, radiant-faced, his brow shining like gold in the morning light. "Behold, a shining brow," said the man, "a Taliesin be he called." And though Elphin thought himself cursed, the infant raised his voice and sang, "Fair Elphin, cease thy lament. Never in Gwyned's weir was there such good fortune as this night. Be not sad, nor fear ill fate. For though I am small and new to the world, in the day of sorrow I shall serve thee better than 300 salmon." And so it was, for this was the first song of Taliesin, the radiant bard of prophecy, whose verses would shape the memory of Britain forever. When Elphin carried the boy home, his father mocked him. "What profit is there in a child where fish should be?" But Taliesin himself spoke, clear and wise beyond his year. "I have been formed a comely person. Though I am but little, I am gifted. Into a dark leathern bag I was cast, and upon the boundless sea I was set adrift. Yet from the sea God brings wealth to the man who is blessed in heart." Then Gwynedd said in wonder, "Art thou a child or some spirit come from the waves?" And Taliesin answered, "3 times have I been born. 3 times I have seen the world renewed. All the sciences of earth are in my breast, and I know what has been, and what shall yet come." Elphin's fortunes changed from that day forward. His wealth and honor grew, and he kept Taliesin in his hall until the boy was 13, wise in speech, radiant of face, and already called chief of the bards of the West. At Christmastide, Elphin was summoned to the court of his uncle, Maelgan Gwynedd, the proudest of kings, who feasted with 1,000 lords in his hall of Dangwyn? Dangwyn, it will be. Their men praised Maelgan's power, his beauty, his queen, his horses, his hounds, and his bards. At last, when all had spoken, Elphin rose and said, "Truly, none but a king may match a king. Yet were he not royal, I would say that my wife is as virtuous as any lady in this realm, and that my bard is wiser than all the king's bards together." It all fell silent. Soon Maelgan heard of this boast, and in his pride ordered Elphin seized and chained in a silver fetter. "Let him prove his words," said the king, "or rot in my tower until he does." Maelgan sent his son Rune the Faithless to bring disgrace upon Elphin's wife. But Taliesin, hearing of this, warned his mistress, and by his art he caused her to change places with her maid. When Rune came to the house, thinking he found Elphin's wife, he plied the maid with wine and deceit, and cut from her hand the little finger that bore Elphin's ring. Proof, he thought, of her dishonor. When Rune brought the finger to the king, Maelgan laughed. "See," said he, "how fools trust in the virtue of women. But when Elphin was brought forth, he said boldly, "This is my ring indeed, but the hand it wore was not my wife's. 3 signs prove it. First, the ring fits this finger tight, though it slipped freely from her thumb. Second, the nail is long and uncut, but my wife has never slept untrimmed on a Saturday night. And third, this hand kneaded rye dough, and my wife has never worked such bread in her life." The king, angered, cast him again into the dungeon. Then Taliesin went to Maelgan's court, where the bards were gathered to sing his praise. He sat quietly in a corner until their music began. Then he put his fingers to his lips and made the sound blurm, blurm. And lo, when the bards began to sing before the king, no voice could form a word, only the same foolish sound. The king, amazed, demanded to know the cause, and his chief bard said, "Lord, it is not from wine or madness, but the spell of a spirit that sits yonder in the form of a child." So Maelgan called for the boy, and Taliesin came before him. Taliesin sang proudly, "I am chief bard to Elphin, born of the cauldron of inspiration. I was with Noah in the ark. I saw the burning of Sodom and Gomorrah. I was in India when Rome was built, and now I come to the remnant of Troy." The court was struck dumb, for never had they heard such speech from one so young. Maelgan bade his own bards answer him, but when they tried, they could only stammer and make the sound blurb. Then the king turned to Taliesin and asked his purpose. Taliesin chanted, "Elphin, son of Gwynedd, lies in the tower of Arturo, chained with 13 locks for praising his bard. But I, Taliesin, chief of the western bards, shall free him from his golden fetters." And he sang a riddle before the court. What creature came before the flood, without flesh or bone, without vein or blood, without head or feet? It grows not old, nor young again. It scours the field and shakes the wood. And one being made it by a mighty blast, to wreak vengeance on Maelgan Gwynedd. As he sang, a terrible wind rose from the sea, a tempest so fierce that the walls of the castle trembled. The king cried out for Elphin to be brought forth, and as they dragged him before the boy, Taliesin sang again, and the silver chains fell open at his feet. Then Taliesin called for Elphin's wife to stand before them, and when she came, fair and whole, she raised her hand, and all saw that she lacked not a finger. Maelgan bowed his head, shamed before heaven and his court, and none of his bards could speak, for Taliesin had silenced their tongues with the power of truth. Elphin was freed from prison, and his wife restored to honor, and the boy bard was praised above all men. And so the world first knew Taliesin, whose name means radiant brow, the poet who held the knowledge of ages within him, who could turn song into truth and truth into power. He became the chief of bards, the voice of kings and of destiny. And from his verses were born the legends of Arthur, the prophecies of Merlin, and the songs that still echo through the mountains of Cymru. Thus ends the last tale of the Mabinogion, the story of Taliesin, the bridge between the world of gods and the age of men. From the dawn of Wales to the halls of Camelot, his song endures. For as long as the mountains stand and the rivers run, the radiant brow shall never fade. And here's where we end for today. Young Tales is produced and narrated by Todd Young from ToddYoungONLINE. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and join us next time for another story. Thank you for your support.